I'll show you what happens when you betray me. Help, no, someone save me. Her screams filled the room, but in this frozen wasteland, no one was coming. I leaned back and watched the chaos unfold on the monitors. The desperation in her voice was music to my ears. You dare try to intimidate me? Then you can just rot. I'll show you. I'm not exactly an easy target to mess with either. I felt a cold smirk tugging at the corners of my mouth. My reflection in the glass looked like a stranger, someone harder, sharper. Lu Jingxian, you really are a brutal piece of work. Do you actually have the guts to go through with it? Threaten me? Go straight to hell. I watched as Chung Feng dragged her toward the back room. The brutality of the scene didn't even make me flinch anymore. In this sub-zero cold, Chung Feng has her tied to the bed. She can't make a sound, and she's already lost too much blood. Either she freezes to death, or the infection takes her. Either way, it's too easy for her. I checked the perimeter sensors one more time. The blizzard outside was howling, burying the world in white silence. Everything was going exactly according to my plan. But then, a flicker of movement caught my eye on the edge of the screen. A shadow moved against the snow, heading straight for my gates. Looks like someone is coming to cause trouble. Time to turn on the cameras. I watched the screen, narrowing my eyes at the figures approaching. Just do exactly what I say, the leader muttered to his crew. Damn it, are those industrial-grade detonators? These guys brought gear mid for leveling skyscrapers and blasting through mountains. I reached for my weapon, my grip tightening on the cold metal. If Liang Chun dares to take a shot at me with that crossbow, I'll hit this detonator before I even hit the ground. If I go down, nobody survives this. Honey, you're incredibly smart, the woman beside him whispered. It doesn't matter if he uses electric shocks or poison gas. You can trigger those explosives in a heartbeat, and Liang Chun won't risk that. A single gun doesn't scare us. It can only kill one person at a time. Spread out, the leader commanded his men. There's no way he can take us all out before the world goes black. Not before the entire front gate goes up in flames. I realized it was time to head to my stash and find something special for these guests. Human bone is softer than pig bone, and my crossbow bolt sliced through pig bone like butter. I checked the tension on the string, feeling the lethal power ready to be unleashed. Everyone back up, rush the entrance the second the explosion hits. I released the first bolt, and it found its mark instantly. Grab my hand. Son of a bitch. Detonate it. Do it now. I watched him struggle to reach the trigger with his mangled fingers, but my bolts were faster than his trembling hands. Another shot hissed through the freezing air. It pinned his sleeve to the frozen ground before he could move. He lunged for the detonator wire in a desperate last stand. I didn't even blink. I fired again, severing the connection cleanly. The cable snapped. Shit. They stared at the useless device, their faces turning pale as the realization hit. I put down the crossbow and pulled out my Glock. The metallic click of the safety echoed in the frozen silence. Yeah, a gun. This kid has a gun. We can't win. They realized too late that I wasn't just a survivor. I was a predator. Run. I've played around with you guys long enough. Now it's my turn to use your own tricks against you. See, I lowered the barrel and watched them scramble away into the white void. How strange. Didn't I just get rid of the bad guys? The adrenaline began to fade, but then a sharp sound cut through the wind. It was an alarm. My surveillance monitors flickered to life, showing movement near the perimeter. Another group was moving through the snow, shadows against the frost. They weren't looking for me, they were fighting each other. Muffled screams and the clashing of metal echoed from the distance. In the apocalypse, people killing each other is nothing new. It's no big deal. It's not my problem anymore. I leaned back against the cold wall, ready to let them tear themselves apart. It seems they're quite greedy. How many places are they planning to rob? Wait a second. I zoomed in on the grainy footage, my blood turning colder than the air. If Faye keeps stealing like this, the one who comes back will be. I recognized the insignia on their jackets. They were heading straight for the central supply depot. If that place goes up in flames, the entire sector is finished. I grabbed my gear and checked the magazine on my Glock. Looks like my quiet night just got a lot louder. Don't blame me for being ruthless. There's just no food left right now. Didn't you say you loved me? Being eaten by me should be an honor for you. I watched the screen, my stomach churning at the desperation of it all. The blizzard had turned everyone into monsters. Then, a new voice crackled through the short-range radio. I heard you have medicine. My father is very sick. Can I trade you some chocolate for a single fever pill? I looked at the figure on the monitor and muttered, Why are you carrying a knife? Isn't it obvious? I'm going to kill Liang Chun. He's useless anyway. I'll use his corpse as my final reserve of food. Don't kill him. This is all the chocolate I have left. In my past life, I died a horrible death because of people like this. Danchinen's fake compassion only let me live for 3 more days back then. And yet, I was supposed to be grateful for that kindness. I let out a cold, sharp laugh that echoed in the empty room. They really think I'm the same easy target from before. I checked the security locks on the reinforced steel door. If they want to play hunter, they're going to realize they're the prey. I watched the monitor as they whispered their dark plans. I wonder if my little bug can help him out. I tapped a key, and a small surveillance drone hummed to life. It hovered silently in the freezing hallway, invisible to them. They had no idea I was listening to every word. Every betrayal and every hungry thought, I heard it all. The man with the knife stepped closer to my door. His eyes were bloodshot, driven mad by the cold and hunger. He didn't want the medicine, he wanted a meal. I gripped the controls, my face illuminated by the blue screen. It was time to remind them who really owns this building. Danshanin stood there, trembling with her useless chocolate. Subscribe to the channel for more of this story. Suddenly, the man froze as the drone's speaker crackled. Who is it? Who's there? He barked, swinging his knife at the air. He looked around like a cornered animal, teeth chattering. Wait, I said, my voice echoing through the hallway speakers. Don't act rashly, you might regret it. The man stopped, his eyes wide as he stared at the camera lens. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Leon Chun, your neighbor. Of course, I know Leon Chun. You're quite famous in this neighborhood. What do you want from me? He asked, his voice shaking. Run. Someone is going to break into your house at any moment. I watched his face go pale as the realization hit him. Thank you so much, he stammered, looking toward the shadows. Understood, I replied coldly, watching him scramble away. I leaned back in my chair, the villa's warmth a stark contrast to his terror. I didn't help him out of kindness. I helped him to sow chaos. In this frozen hell, information is the only currency that matters. I checked the other camera feeds, looking for the next move. First, I'll shut down the heating system in that sector. That way, the thieves won't even know there's someone right next door. I watched the temperature gauge on the screen begin to plummet. The frost began to creep across the lens of the hallway camera. I could see their breath hitching in the air like white ghosts. They thought they were the predators in this building, but they were just rats scurrying through a maze I designed. I adjusted my headset and prepared for the next phase. The game was just getting started, and I held all the high cards. Let's see how long they last when the real cold sets in. If I seal the walls now, no one will ever find a hiding spot. I checked the structural integrity of the villa's hidden chambers. Everything was locked tight, just the way I planned it. I watched the radar screen, tracking the heat signatures outside. The intruders were moving slowly through the blizzard. That snowman will be reaching this position in about 10 minutes. I still need to hide those two people upstairs before he arrives. Dad, open the door. Someone is coming to rob us. How can there be thieves out here all of a sudden? Understood. You must be terrified. With all those suspicious people lurking outside, I ushered them into the narrow corridor behind the bookshelf. Their eyes widened as the heavy wood slid silently into place. They looked around the cramped space in total disbelief. The air in the secret passage was stale and smelled of dust. I've lived here so long with these secret passages right under my nose. How is it possible that I've never heard a single word about them? I pressed a finger to my lips, signaling for absolute silence. Don't make a single sound, I whispered, my voice like ice. I closed the final latch and left them in the dark. Is it really that serious? They're just petty thieves. I refused to believe it. Would they actually kill someone? I moved back toward the main monitors to check the perimeter. The thermal sensors were lighting up like a Christmas tree. Suddenly, a sharp cracking sound echoed through the ventilation ducts. It sounded like someone was smashing glass right next to my ear. I gripped the handle of my weapon, my knuckles turning white. They weren't just knocking, they were tearing the place apart. I checked the feed for the secondary entrance near the garage. 3 shadows were huddled around the reinforced steel frame. One of them started shouting, his voice muffled by the thick walls. Shut up, I hissed under my breath, watching the screen. If they found the weak point in the seal, I'd have to act fast. I adjusted the camera angle to get a better look at their faces. They looked desperate, hungry, and dangerously armed. One of the men kicked the door and spat into the snow. He turned to the others with a look of pure frustration. Brother, there's nobody in this house. Not a single soul in the entire villa. Ugh, gross. I take it back. This villa is nothing but dust and hair. Is your information wrong, or what? Impossible. I checked this place. Besides that pretty lady, her father and stepmother live here too. The place is still warm, which means they just left. There were signs of life everywhere I looked. I could see them through the camera, scavenging like rats. They were tearing through the living room now. My heart hammered against my ribs as I watched the screen. One of them held up a silver watch and grinned. We hit the jackpot. Man, talk about good karma. Then, a muffled scream came from the closet. Someone was hiding there. Please forgive me, a voice begged from inside the shadows. Spare my life, brother. I don't know anything, I swear. My girl hid me in here, and then she just ran off. If you want money, go find her and ask her for it. The intruders dragged the man out by his collar. Stop, please. Don't hit me, just call Mai. Make her come back and serve you. I watched the coward groveling on the floor. You brat, get back here and save me. Prepare food and everything else for these gentlemen. Stay calm, brother. My daughter is very obedient. I'll make her go to you right now. We definitely aren't going west. That guy with the flute is very handsome, right? He'll be satisfied, for sure. He'll give you money. Can you give me back my jewelry first, please? The intruders just laughed at his pathetic begging. One of them kicked him square in the ribs. Brother, we searched the whole villa. There's no food anywhere. The leader's face twisted in rage. He grabbed the man's hair and slammed his head against the floor. Stop. Don't hit me anymore. Let me call my daughter. She must have food hidden. Subscribe to the channel. I leaned back and watched the chaos unfold on my monitors. This was only the beginning of their nightmare. This can't be. Why isn't she answering? Damn it. The phone must be broken. Not a single honest word out of this man. He's practically begging for a beating. Brother, there's no food here and the heating is dead. Staying is pointless. Let's head back and regroup. We've gathered enough loot for today. I watched the leader's patience finally snap. I can't keep dodging these hits forever. Arg, let's move out. The thugs marched out, leaving the old man bleeding on the cold floor. He crawled toward the phone, his voice trembling with spite. You traitors. He spat blood onto the expensive rug. This is all your fault. My gold, you ungrateful brat. You let them steal everything. I'm so disappointed. You cheated on her with that woman. You drove my mother insane. Now you're selling me out just to save yourself. You don't deserve to be my father. I've finally seen your true face. I won't be your submissive daughter anymore. From today on, you're on your own. Why? Since when did she become so rebellious? I watched her turn her back on him without a second thought. No, she's leaving. That gang will kill. His voice cracked, the realization finally hitting him. He reached out, but his fingers only grasped at the freezing air. Are you scared because she won't obey you anymore? Look at you. You're right. It's time to end this. I kept my eyes glued to the screen. The drama was reaching its breaking point. What for? Why bother begging now? He didn't see me. I stayed perfectly still behind the planter. I was a ghost in his own home, a silent witness to his ruin. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I watched as she pulled out a small, sharp object. Her eyes were cold, devoid of any daughterly love. She pressed it against his neck. This is the most sensitive nerve point on the human body. You're going to pay for everything you put my mother through. Whether you survive the night, that's between you and God. I took a sip of my coffee and waited for the end. I leaned back and thought about the man I had just seen. He was actually pretty good. He had morals, but he was no saint. He was skilled and sharp. If I could team up with someone like him, it would be a smart move. System, can't I just have a teammate without it being a girlfriend? The system's response was simple, shut up. I ignored the digital sass and checked my messages. The screen was blank and the silence in the villa was heavy. I paced across the heated floors, looking at the blizzard outside. Everything was going according to plan, except for one thing. One person was missing from the board. That's strange. Why hasn't Dantiana contacted me yet? I think it's time for me to take the initiative. I opened the encrypted terminal and pulled up her last known location. The signal was weak, flickering like a dying candle in the cold. She wasn't the type to stay quiet unless something was wrong. I tapped my fingers on the desk, weighing my options. In this frozen hell, silence usually meant death. I wasn't about to let my best lead freeze over. Suddenly, a notification pinged on my terminal. It was a message from Dantiana, and it was surprisingly casual. I got your message. I'm happy to move in with you, and I even brought some instant noodles. I stared at the text, wondering if she realized how bad things were out there. Anyway, just let me in first. I checked the security cameras and saw her shivering at the perimeter gate. Honestly, food isn't an issue, because what you're about to see inside will blow your mind. I pressed the remote release and watched the heavy steel doors groan open. She hurried inside, clutching a small bag like it was a treasure chest. The moment she stepped into the foyer, the warmth hit her like a physical wall. She froze, her eyes widening as she looked at the bright lights and plush carpets. It was a different world compared to the white void outside. I stood at the top of the stairs, watching her reaction with a smirk. She looked down at her soggy cup of noodles and then back at my high-tech kitchen. The contrast was almost comical. I wondered if she was here because she trusted me, because she was desperate, or if she had something else in mind. In this world, having a partner you can actually trust seemed almost impossible, but I was willing to take that gamble. She slowly peeled off her heavy, frost-covered coat. Her eyes darted around the room before landing on the stove. I had a pot of real beef stew simmering right there. In this frozen hell, the scent of fresh meat was a miracle. She stepped toward the kitchen, her nose twitching. It smells incredible, she whispered. I handed her a bowl, and she didn't even wait to sit down. She ate like someone who hadn't seen a real meal in years. I'm staying with you for the food, she said, and I'll make sure you stay safe. Let's work together from now on. I gave her a small nod, but I had more to show her than just a meal. I tapped the console, activating the main interface. granting full access to all video surveillance systems, the AI announced. Dozens of holographic screens flared to life around us. They showed every inch of the perimeter in crystal clear detail. "This is terrifying," she said, her eyes reflecting the blue light. "This smart system is better than anything I've ever seen." She realized then that I wasn't just a guy in a fancy house. I was the master of a high-tech fortress. And now, she was part of the crew. "Leon Chun, I was wrong. It turns out you're my favorite man. I know you were just angry with me before. There's no way you don't like me. A beautiful woman like me. Staying right here with you. I even have plenty of sexy lingerie. Don't you want to see it?" I looked at the screen, my expression cold and unmoved. "Who says I don't have beautiful girls around me?" I asked. I pulled the girl next to me closer into the camera's view. The woman on the screen froze, her jaw dropping instantly. She stared at the stranger standing in my high-tech kitchen. The silence in the room was heavy and sharp. Then, the screeching started. "Leon Chun, who is this woman? How do you have another woman in there with you? Wait, who is she? What is wrong with her face? Why is she wrapped in a scarf? Is she so ugly she can't show herself? Leon Chun, don't let her trick you. She's nothing but a complete fraud. Who are you and why are you in my man's house? Oh no, Leon Chun, she's scaring me. She's evil. Quick, tell her exactly who I am to you." I watched her, thinking, wow, this girl really knows what she's doing. She was a natural-born actress. "Of course she's my girlfriend," I said calmly. I pulled the girl next to me even closer into the frame. The woman on the screen looked like she was about to explode. "Honey, darling," the girl beside me cooed. She turned her gaze toward the monitor with a mocking smile. "Honey, just look at her. I'm sorry, but I'm just not interested in trash. My God, isn't that a Victoria's Secret set from 3 years ago? Why are you still wearing that old thing? Couldn't you afford the new collection?" Unlike her, I'd never dream of sending sexy photos to random men. My family raised me with much stricter values than that. "Leon Chun, listen to me right now," the woman screamed. "I'm a top-tier student. I'm supposed to study abroad. No common girl can compare to me. You'll regret choosing her. You'll regret picking her over me. Do all nerds have such punchable faces? Hey, top student, who hit you?" I just stared at the screen, enjoying every second of her breakdown. The woman on the screen sneered, her voice dripping with venom. "If you stay with someone brainless, you'll get tired of her fast." Lu Jingxian didn't flinch. She just stepped closer to the camera. "Miss, I have a master's from Chinbei University because I'm actually smart. It only took me 3 years to finish both my bachelor's and my master's. So who's the superficial one now? Don't think you're so special." The woman's jaw dropped as her top student status was crushed. She looked like she had just swallowed a mouthful of glass. She pointed a trembling finger at the screen, shaking with fury. "Lu Jingxian, one of these days, both of you will. You'll both be on your knees before me, begging for mercy. You'll be crying. Just you wait and see." I had heard enough of her desperate, pathetic threats. I reached out and tapped the end call button on the console. Her distorted, screaming face vanished into a black screen. Silence finally returned to the fortified living room. I looked at Lu Jingxian and gave her a slow, approving nod. "You're quite the actress," I said, a smirk playing on my lips. She let out a long sigh and slumped her shoulders in relief. But I knew this wasn't the end. People like her never know when to quit. A new message notification blinked on the control panel. "Mr. Chun, it's me, Lu." The voice was soft, almost hesitant, coming through the speakers. "You're involved in so many things. Maybe you've already forgotten me. I'm not even sure if you still remember who I am. But I have 2 gifts waiting for you." I leaned back and replied, "Of course I remember you. After everything, you're still a goddess in my eyes. But tell me, what are these mysterious gifts you're talking about?" She paused, letting the tension hang in the frozen air. Then she held up a small, metallic device to the camera. "The first one is the detonator. As for the second gift, well, that's a surprise. But to receive your prize, you'll need to do something for me first." I narrowed my eyes. "What do you want?" "I want Leon Chun on his knees, begging me for mercy like a dog. I want to see him broken, pleading for me to just end his life." I felt a cold smile spread across my face as I listened. "My father sent me a lot of high-quality supplies recently. So don't you worry, I'll make sure this is worth your while. I want Leon Chun to regret ever being born." Yes, Chin Yao's father is absolutely loaded. Leon Chun is nothing compared to him. He's just a loser who happened to hoard a few supplies. Once I get close to Chin Yao, Leon Chin's good days are over. I looked around the room, noticing the vibrant green leaves. I remember all these plants were dying, so how are they thriving now? "Are you into gardening?" I asked, tilting my head. He gave a confident nod, looking over his crops. "You could say that." He adjusted his gloves and smiled at me. "I'm actually an expert at growing things, no matter how harsh the conditions get. Most people have lost the skill to farm in this frost, but not him. This is incredible. With you here, we'll have all the fresh food we could ever want." I reached out and touched a ripening fruit. It felt real, solid, life in the middle of a graveyard. I looked back at him, my eyes wide with genuine shock. He just laughed and patted the soil. Don't worry, in 3 months, I'll double everything we have in here. I watched him work, wondering if he was truly as capable as he claimed. His confidence was infectious, but in this wasteland, trust is a luxury. I needed to know more about his background before making a move. Do you really like doing this? Do you even know who this man is? In my past life, Jing Sheng used to help residents with mobility issues. Now he's out there collecting blood like it's a common chore. He treats it like drinking water, but in reality, he's just a good guy. Liang Chen, I called out to him. Cheng, please, I need medicine for a fever. My daughter has been burning up for 3 days straight. I looked at the man standing before me, weighing my options. I have to think this through carefully. His build is solid, but he's missing an arm, which suggests he's seen real combat. He's definitely not as simple as he looks. What do you think? The silence between us stretched as I analyzed his every move. Instead of guessing, let's just go and see it for ourselves. I grabbed my gear and prepared to head out into the cold. If he survives the frost, he might actually be useful to me. If he really has those skills, I'd much rather have him working for me. That would be absolutely perfect. I stared at the package in my hands, feeling the weight of it. This is an official, self-heating hot pot. A luxury like this is unheard of in this frozen hellscape. I looked over at the kid shivering in the corner. His breathing was shallow, and his skin looked pale against the rags. I reached out and touched his forehead, pulling back instantly. His face is flushed deep red, and I'm certain he's seriously ill. I heard the door creak open and a voice call out, "You're back. Are you hungry? Uncle will find you something to eat." I watched the exchange, my eyes narrowing at the man's empty hands. I asked him coldly, "Didn't you eat over at Peach's grandmother's place? Are my daughter and I invisible? We don't need a feast, but our food ran out ages ago. You haven't brought back anything extra. What did you promise my late husband before he died?" I looked at the meager scraps and thought, if it weren't so cold, I wouldn't touch this garbage. We are literally starving to death here, so do something about it. He sighed, shoulders slumped, and muttered, "Fine, I'll go find us some food." I watched him walk back out into the blizzard without a coat. I wondered for a second, is he just going to abandon us? No way, he's stubborn and loyal to a fault, so he won't just leave. I'll use him until he's spent, then make sure he brings us even more. That's going way too far. Those two are absolutely terrible. They're nothing but complete animals. I looked at the screen and wondered, do I actually want to help her? I must have a way to handle this, right? I opened the channel and said, "Brother Zheng, it's me, Liang Chen." A voice crackled back, Who's speaking? I smirked and asked him, "Do you want to see something wild?" Well, I waited for his response while the wind howled outside. Peach is my colleague's daughter, so I can't just ignore her. But as for her mother and grandmother, they can do whatever they want. A faint cry echoed through the feed. "Someone, please help me. Go see what's happening, and if you want the full story, check out the video." I needed to see if Jin Shan was actually worth my help. I thought to myself, this is your one chance. I leaned back and watched the monitors flicker. The desperation in the room was palpable even through the lens. I adjusted the settings to get a clearer view of the chaos. Animals, they really are just a pack of animals. I closed my eyes for a second, letting the silence of the shelter sink in. Shen Wenchao and his gang are attacking right now. Stop them, and I'll give you medicine. You have exactly 3 minutes. If you're late, there's no food and no medicine. The tension is rising. Don't let me down now. I watched the timer on the screen begin its cold countdown. Jin Shan gripped his weapon, his knuckles turning white from the pressure. He knew this was his only lifeline in this frozen hell. I leaned in closer to the monitor, my eyes fixed on his every move. The snow outside the building was stained with the shadows of the attackers. Every second wasted was a second closer to a brutal end. "Move it, Jinshin, hurry the hell up. Come on, you need to go faster than that." I saw the shadows of the gang members moving through the hallway. Yang Wenchao has weapons. Should I remind Jinshin what he's walking into? If he can't handle a simple threat like this, then he doesn't deserve my attention or my resources. I heard the grandmother's voice crack over the audio. "Please, I beg you, just let my granddaughter go." The cruelty on Chan Wenchao's face was visible even through the grainy feed. "Can anyone save me?" the girl cried out into the empty air. I stayed silent, waiting to see if my new pawn would make his move. Who the hell is that? The gang members froze as a shadow emerged from the blizzard. Jin Shan didn't say a word. He just kept coming. "Get him!" Shen Wenchao screamed, pointing a trembling finger. I watched the screen as the first attacker lunged forward. Jin Shan swung his pipe with a sickening thud. The man went down instantly, his blood steaming in the freezing air. I leaned back in my chair, a cold smile touching my lips. He was faster than I expected. You damn bastard, you're going to pay for that." Shen Wenchao fumbled with the pistol tucked into his waistband. but his hands were shaking too hard from the cold, or maybe fear. Jinshen didn't give him the chance to aim. He closed the distance in 3 long strides. The sound of breaking bone echoed through the monitor's speakers. I checked the timer, 1 minute and 40 seconds left. Yes, I whispered to the empty room. This was exactly the kind of violence I needed to see. The girls scrambled away as the gang began to scatter in panic. Jinshin stood over the fallen leader, looking like a demon in the snow. Shen Wenchao spat blood into the snow, his eyes wide with rage. Damn you, you've got a death wish messing with our security team. I'll kill you in your own home tomorrow, believe it or not. Art, you actually dare to hit me? He was screaming for his life, but Jinshin didn't flinch. Jinshin grabbed him by the collar and hoisted him up. The rest of the thugs backed away, their bravado frozen solid. I watched Jinshin's cold, indifferent eyes through the lens. He wasn't a hero, he was a tool I was sharpening. He leaned in close to Chen Wenchao's face. I'm just a man with nothing left to lose, Jinshin muttered. If you keep harassing these kids, you're going to pay the ultimate price. Let me go, just let me go, Chen wailed. Jinshin threw him aside like a bag of trash and looked at the camera. I did what you asked. When do I get the food and medicine? I tapped the intercom and replied, do one more thing for me. I'll give you everything you need once you're finished. Everyone knows who the liars are here. They've bullied us for too long. You can either leave them in peace or help me end this. I cut the feed, leaving him standing alone in the white void. I leaned back and watched the chaos unfold on my screens. So what now? Wow, you really are ruthless. Ruthless? No, this is just an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I watched the neighbors gathering in the hallway through the hidden lens. Do you really think these residents are going to help? Definitely not. They won't help him. In fact, they're here to help themselves. The crowd grew larger, whispering and shoving in the cramped space. I zoomed in on their hands, noticing the gear they were carrying. There are so many of them, but why are they all carrying backpacks and bags? It's freezing out, and they aren't here to rescue anyone. They're here to shop. What are you all saying? The group started arguing, their voices overlapping in a desperate hum. Everyone is coming out, isn't it obvious? Stop talking and let me handle this. They really are vultures. I told you already, they're here to scavenge whatever is left. If we hesitate any longer, none of us are going to make it through the night. I watched a man stumble as the crowd surged forward. It hurts. Someone hit me. I want my mom, he wailed. I watched the screen as a woman shoved her way through the mob. Who dares to harass my son? She shrieked, her face twisted in rage. You'll pay for this. She grabbed the boy's arm, trying to pull him away from the crowd. Help me, the boy cried out, his voice cracking from the cold. A man stepped forward, blocking her path with a cold stare. What do you think you're doing? He demanded. He's hurt. I need to get him home so he can recover. My little boy is already in this state. Don't cross the line. He's been out in the snow too long, and even if we take him back now, he won't survive. He will live, she screamed, clutching him tighter. What are you trying to say? How can you hurt him like this? My little boy. He's just a child. He's so young. The man didn't flinch, looking down at the kid without a shred of pity. He used to bully everyone else in this building. He stole supplies from people. So who bullied who? And how many homes did your son destroy? Don't you know it yourself? He ended up like this because of his own greed. The woman's eyes widened, her grip on her son trembling. No way, that's not true. I won't let you hurt my son, because I'll kill you first. Don't blame us for being heartless. We're all just trying to survive out here. I told you so. Right from the start, this life isn't for you. You're the one who insisted on watching, so don't blame me now. It's no great loss if scum like that dies. I get it. Why let the others divide the spoils? Just eat the meat. In an apocalypse, cannibalism is just another way to survive. So when Grandma and Mom need to survive, would they eat Tao Tao? I wouldn't do it, not even if they've completely lost their minds. They would never hurt Tao Tao. You want to bet on that? Let's bet on what kind of people they really are deep down. I'm talking about Grandma and Mom. Come on, let's see how Jingxing's little performance goes. A performance. We need to put on a show for Grandma and Mom to see. This guy isn't stupid. He knows exactly how to hide the supplies. Ouch, that hurts. What happened? I slipped. I fell right into the snow. Why are you carrying a backpack? Did you find some food? I got lucky and found some bread. Hey, look at this. Whole packs of noodles. My god, there's even canned meat. Did you get any medicine for the fever? I managed to get some pills. Some ibuprofen. I'm going to give them to Tao Tao right now. Liang Chun, you did a lot today. No need to trouble yourself with the dosage. I can take care of Tao Tao myself. Give me the medicine. You know what? Even a cripple like Liang Chun can get his hands on supplies. Maybe I'll give a pill myself too. Tao Tao. Hey, are you stupid? Do you know how valuable a Bupro fun is right now if you traded it for food? Do you have any idea how much you'd get? But Tao Tao has had a fever for days. Won't it get worse? You have no idea. Once someone gets hurt out here, they're practically finished. Jin Zheng was already there, and now he's gone and injured himself again. He's useless now. If he's not useful, we'll have to rely on neighbor Wang. But what man wants to raise someone else's kid? Mom, are you saying if we let Tao Tao die, that's one less mouth to feed? And neighbor Wang would be happy about it, too. But Jing Jing won't agree to that. Did you see the video in the residence group? If we kill Jin Zheng and trade his meat for supplies, he's just a cripple. We can do whatever we want with him. Fine. Let's go talk to neighbor Wang right now. Be careful. Wow, what a disaster. I promised to take care of your daughter, but it turns out the ones hurting her are her own grandmother and her mother. So, do you understand now? Yes, I get it. No one can ever hurt Tao Tao again, not even her mother or her grandmother. I'm glad you understand. Now, let me show you their plan. See, there are 3 of them, and they plan to use Tao Tao to threaten you. Liang Chun, thank you so much. I watched her face pale as the realization hit. If it weren't for you, Tao Tao and I would be lost. They aren't even human. I leaned back, watching the monitors coldly. The trap was already set. Don't blame me for defending what's mine. Wow, this is insane. It's like watching a movie. I smirked at the screen. This is much better than a movie. Hey, pass me the chips. I crunched on a snack while the drama unfolded. The show was just getting started. I watched the screen as they crept toward my door. Their faces were twisted with greed and desperation. They had no idea I was seeing every single move. The grandmother whispered to the others, her voice trembling with malice. She pointed a rusted blade toward my living quarters. Let's finish off that cripple once and for all. I almost laughed at how confident they sounded. They burst into the room, expecting to find me sleeping. Shit, this guy is still awake. The mother froze, her eyes wide with sudden terror. Why are you just standing there? Hurry up and kill him. Kill him. The grandmother screamed, her face contorted in a mask of rage. I didn't even bother getting up from my chair. I just pressed a single button on my remote control. Whip. A high-tension wire snapped across the doorway in a blur. It moved faster than the human I could follow. Silence filled the room for a heartbeat. Then, the mother's weapon clattered to the floor. My hand, my hand. I looked over at the little girl. She was shaking like a leaf. I turned back to the mother and said, now it's your turn. Have you lost your mind? How dare you hurt people like this? Weren't you the ones who tried to kill me in the middle of the night? If you take one more step, I'll kill the girl. I honestly couldn't understand it. How could someone be so cruel to their own blood? Peach is just a child. What did she ever do wrong? Stop, that's enough. That isn't P. I cut her off before she could finish. I pulled the blanket off the figure in the bed. It wasn't a child at all. Why is there a stuffed rabbit in the bed? Then, where's Peach? You knew the whole time, didn't you? You knew our plan from the start. I stared at them coldly. After all, you're still Peach's family. I don't want the girl to be sad, so I'll let you go. Just this once. I watched them scramble away into the freezing darkness. They didn't look back once. I walked back into the living room and sat down. The silence of the shelter felt heavier than usual. I looked at the empty space where the supplies used to be. Everything was gone. Damn it. I kicked a stray piece of wood across the floor. The garden I worked so hard on was a wreck. Every single one of my plants. They're all gone. How am I supposed to, sir? I can't live like this. I leaned my head against the cold metal wall. Outside, I could hear the mother screaming at her husband. Her voice was shrill, cutting through the wind. The neighbor is dead. My husband is dead. Now even Jinjin ignores me. What am I supposed to do? This is all your fault. If it wasn't for your stupid idea, I wouldn't be in this mess. You heartless idiot. I did. Her voice broke into a sob. Did she really think living would be that easy? I heard the husband's voice crack as he shouted back. But we have no food. We won't last much longer. We're going to starve. We won't starve, the woman hissed back. There's fresh meat right there. Stop standing around and help me. I'm going to carve the meat now. I felt a chill run down my spine that had nothing to do with the snow. They were actually going to do it. Desperation had finally stripped away their humanity. I stared at the monitor, watching the shadows move in the hallway. Once that line is crossed, there's no going back. More people will lose their limits and start committing all kinds of atrocities. Speak of the devil, here comes another savage. I watched as a man approached the group with a smug grin. I wondered what his angle was. It looks like he's found himself a new sponsor. Young Master Chun is making sure everyone stays safe. Everyone gets food from him as long as they follow his orders to the letter. The price of loyalty in this hellscape is cheap. Kill someone for Chun and you only get 3 meager rations. For a few viral videos? What a cheapskate, and if you fail the mission, he cuts your rations. Even the worst capitalists aren't this ruthless. I can't believe so many people are actually willing to do it. That's human nature for you, but all of this gave me an idea. I leaned back and watched the chaos unfold on the screen. I could do the exact same thing and make them risk their lives for me instead. If they're going to work for someone, it might as well be me. My offer just has to be slightly better than Chan's. That's all it takes. When it comes to supplies, Nobody in this frozen wasteland can even begin to compete with me. I started typing out my message to the group chat. Wow, why isn't Shinyawe reacting at all? Can't he see that I'm openly challenging him? He's staying awfully quiet for someone so arrogant. Maybe he's more scared than he lets on. I sat there, staring at the screen, waiting for his move. But the silence from his end was deafening. Is he really going to let me walk all over him like this? Maybe he's finally realized he's outmatched. Or maybe he's just too tired to fight back anymore. I've been feeling exhausted lately too, barely getting any sleep. I'll make it up to you next time, I promise. I'll make it worth the wait. I tossed my phone onto the sofa and rubbed my eyes. The world outside was still a frozen hellscape, indifferent to our petty wars. Suddenly, a series of rapid vibrations cut through the quiet. My phone won't stop buzzing. I need to check if something important happened. I picked it up and saw the group chat was exploding. Shinyawe had finally broken his silence, and he sounded livid. He was typing out insults faster than people could read them. He called me a freak for having the nerve to steal his people. He was losing his mind right in front of everyone. He even started quoting religious texts like some unhinged preacher. To him, I'm nothing more than a clown and a bad joke. He kept asking how much longer they had to look at my annoying face. He's terrified of anyone stealing his spotlight. You'd get to keep everything you own. You're absolutely right. I'm starting a group chat now to have my father send more weapons and explosives. Are you listening to me? So every owner who wants Liang Chen dead, let's go blow up his precious safe house. The place is loaded with gear. The moment he's dead, all of those supplies will be ours. If you're in, follow me. Everyone gets a share of the loot. Who is he to boss us around? Support the people who actually help. We're with you, young Master Chun. I can't believe it. There's no way a whole crowd loses to one man. I scrolled through the chat, watching the mutiny unfold. Dozens of people were already jumping on the bandwagon. They were ready to tear me apart. Then a notification flashed. Bad news. An alliance just formed to take you down. They're coming to kill you and seize your home. I've reached out to my old unit from my service days. We're here to help. I sent a quick reply. Thanks. Get in here. Just in case someone rats you out, bring Pitch with you to my safe house. It's incredibly secure. There's no way anyone is forcing their way in. I watched the monitors as the mob gathered outside my front door. They were armed with pipes, sledgehammers, and a desperate kind of greed. They really thought numbers alone could break through my defenses. Hiding in a shell, that's all Yang Chun can do now, someone shouted. Hurry up and open this door right now. Hand over your supplies, and maybe we'll leave your body in one piece. Break it down, boys. Tear this piece of junk house apart. We're splitting every scrap of food and every weapon inside. The first heavy blow landed against the reinforced steel, but it didn't even dent. Damn it, why is this door so incredibly hard to break? You're all useless. Get out of my way. Young Master Chen stepped forward, brandishing a heavy explosive charge. I'm not letting you do whatever you want anymore, Liang Chun. He set the timer and scrambled back as the crowd cheered. A massive explosion rocked the hallway, filling the air with thick, black smoke. They waited for the dust to clear, expecting to see a gaping hole. But the door stood there, cold and indifferent to their petty violence. That's all he's got for defense. Get in there and grab the loot. First come, first served. The smoke cleared, and the crowd froze in disbelief. They started to run toward the entrance, thinking it was open. But as the air settled, the steel door remained perfectly intact. I watched them realize that even a blast like that couldn't kill my defenses. Young Master Chen's face turned pale as he stared at the wall. What the hell is this thing made of? He screamed. He grabbed another explosive, his hands shaking with pure rage. The mob behind him started to waver, their confidence shattered. I leaned back in my chair, sipping a hot coffee while I watched the feed. Inside, I thought, keep wasting your ammo. You're only making it easier for me. They were like ants trying to topple a mountain. Chen pounded his fists against the cold metal until his knuckles bled. You think you're safe in there, but there's no way you're ever coming out. He looked directly into the security camera with bloodshot eyes. Liang Chun, even if I have to become a ghost, I won't let you go. If I can't have what's inside, then no one will. I'll blow this entire complex to hell and take you down with me. He pulled out a detonator linked to the main gas lines of the building. The man had finally lost his mind, driven mad by his own greed. Let's burn together in this frozen wasteland. Flames everywhere. Run. The heat was suffocating as the gas lines ignited. The mob scrambled like rats in a sinking ship. They haven't done anything wrong. They're just survivors trying to live. I'll let them join the new community I'm building so we can work together for a better future. And I'll take charge of the plantation. I'll share the supplies with everyone. You can also find someone to help you work the fields. We've started over. We won't cause any more trouble. We'll truly follow you. Yes, absolutely. Thermonuclear energy satellite update complete. Launch finalized. Solar radiation is fully under control now. The screen flickered with the confirmation of my absolute power. It was all over. I am the one who seeks vengeance. The smoke from the explosion began to dissipate into the frozen air. The young master is gone. Nothing remained of his arrogance but a pile of ash. Yang Chan thought it had ended right there. But it's only just begun. Everyone who hurt my son will pay. I will make sure they regret every single breath they take.